People always ask how I balance my family life with 400 shows a year. I'm just doing what I love with the people I love. It's my magic life.
I like Wes Iseli. I like everything about him.
All right, on today's episode, we have someone who is passionate about helping women not only lose weight, but change their lifestyle and heal the mind and body. She's a certified life coach, a keto nutrition specialist, and a pretty cool person to boot. Everybody, it's Jess Reid. Woo! What's happening, girl? How are you?
Hey, Wes. Thank you so much. And you and Natalie, I'm excited to chat with you today.
Well, this will be fun. So we had over 60 people write to us outside of the realm of magic and say, hey, I'd like to be on the podcast. I'd like to do this. And Natalie skimmed through them and she said this one piqued her interest. So Natalie is super excited about this one. But
yeah, I was really excited too. I believe I told you I wanted to talk about the magic of ketosis.
Oh, there you go. There you
Perfect.
go. So Natalie doesn't know anything about ketosis. I've looked into it, but you got a brand new subject over here. You can break her in. But this is listen to people from 35 different countries all around the world. You don't only help men, though, do you?
You mean women?
Women, sorry. You don't only help women, do you? You also help men?
I mainly help women. I would say probably about 90 to 95% of my clients are women. Probably mostly because of my branding. So I call myself a self-care keto coach. I think that the term self-care is probably more of a buzzword for women than men, just because of our conditioning and marketing and so forth. But it's really just about meeting your own needs and taking good care of yourself through nutrition. And so I say that I help women lose weight with a keto diet and a self-care mindset. To answer your question, I'm not opposed to taking on men as clients, but I definitely find that a lot more women are coming to me than men.
Well, we're on the road constantly performing, so any tips or tricks you have, we are up for it. Our problem is just that sometimes we have 20-hour work days. And when you're trying to stay awake after 4 shows and driving from state to state to get to the next show, you grab junk food to stay awake. You need that instant sugar just to keep you awake behind the wheel. And, you're passing fast food restaurant after fast food restaurant. We do have the RV. She does try to pack lunches, but it gets tough out there, Jess, so...
I hear you. Yeah, it's definitely a struggle, but it's totally doable. And I want to, point out basically that there are lots of people that follow a keto diet, not even to lose weight, but just for the performance benefits of it. So there are biohackers in Silicon Valley that prefer to run off of ketones for fuel instead of running off of sugar for fuel, just because it is a more efficient fuel source. You can go longer between meals without experiencing any hunger. You feel a lot more energy. You feel a lot more clarity of mind. And so people do it for basically performance.
All right, well, start back at the beginning. Tell Natalie about ketones and what that is.
Okay, cool. So, essentially, as humans, we are able to function in one of 2 metabolic states. And a metabolic state is essentially just means the type of energy that you're able to burn for fuel. And so, in all of the food that we eat, there are 3 different macronutrients. It breaks down into either protein, fats, or carbohydrates. And so carbohydrates are things like sugars, even starches, potatoes, rice, pasta, bread, all of those things. But of course, there are also carbohydrates in vegetables and salad and fruits and everything like that. So when the body has carbohydrates available, it uses that as its primary fuel source. And so you will be burning glucose or sugar for fuel. And most of us go our entire lives just only in this one metabolic state. Unless you've ever tried a keto diet or a low-carb diet, or unless you've ever done any extended fasting, you've actually never dipped into the other metabolic state, which is called ketosis. So in this metabolic state, when you don't have carbohydrates available, your body has a backup fuel source, which is to burn fat for fuel, particularly your stored body fat. So we actually have the capability of storing a lot of energy on our bodies through fat cells. And so when we have an excess of energy or an excess of even carbohydrates, the body converts it into fat. So think about a bear who eats, all summer long and gets nice and fat and then hibernates all winter long. So when the bear is hibernating, he is burning his stored body fat for fuel, and he actually switches into a different metabolic state of ketosis. So the reason why it's called ketosis instead of something related to the word fat is because when your body breaks down stored body fat or breaks down even dietary fat, one of the byproducts that happens, your liver is the organ that breaks down fat, and one of the byproducts of breaking down fat is called ketones. And so the ketone bodies are actually the fuel that your body is running off of. So that's why it's called ketosis.
Oh. Well, that's good to know. I had no clue about any of this stuff. As you always hear everybody talking about, I'm on a keto diet, I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. You just eat meat or, whatever. So, yeah, that's good to know.
The foods that you do mainly focus on then is protein and fat, because you're going to be intentionally restricting carbohydrates so that your body switches over to the different fuel source of burning ketones for fuel. So the reason that people want to do this is because it allows you to tap into your stored body fat and break that down and therefore lose fat, lose weight, recomposition your body. It preserves muscle as well so that you're not, losing fat and muscle. Instead, you're only losing fat. So it really helps with body recomposition. And also the main reason that people might choose to do this over any other type of way to lose weight is because of the appetite suppression, actually. So that's one of the interesting benefits of a state of ketosis is your appetite becomes suppressed. And you might think that the reason for this from an anthropological point of view, think about our ancestors who used to have to hunt and gather for our food. So imagine there's a famine or you haven't been able to hunt or kill in a couple of days. You wouldn't want to be in a state where you just feel absolutely starving and lethargic. You would want to actually have more energy and focus to be able to go make the next kill or find and gather some food. And so that's one of the amazing benefits of ketosis is that it suppresses your appetite as well as makes you more alert and able to function at a higher performance level.
Huh. So I wouldn't be getting hangry anymore.
Yeah, that's what's pretty amazing. So, like you guys said, you are on the road for a lot of hours, and sometimes you're driving through the night, and you're eating sugar just to stay awake.
Right.
So what happens when you consume sugar is that your blood glucose or your blood sugar spikes. And so what happens when it spikes is you get a nice boost of energy, you feel really good, you get that nice little sugar high for a little bit. But then when it dips back down, you go into a blood sugar slump. And then your brain starts compelling you that you are hungry again. So sugar breaks down very easily in the body, and so you burn through it very quickly. And so that's why your hunger comes back within like 2 hours. If you have breakfast of like cereal and orange juice, you're going to be hungry 2 hours later. But if you had a breakfast of eggs and bacon only, no carbohydrates, you might be feeling pretty full and good for 4 or 5 hours.
Okay. Cool.
And what did I make you for breakfast this morning?
Eggs and turkey bacon.
There you go.
Good choices.
So what I have studied and my studying, my knowledge of ketosis and all this isn't as vast as yours, obviously. What are the sticks and what are you doing? Are you peeing on them? Are you testing your blood? I've seen ketosis sticks. What are those? Is that saliva? What is that?
Yeah, actually. So there are 3 different ways that you can test ketones in your body. And kind of the cool thing about this, actually, people who really enjoy data and science and or just perfectionists, people that want to know, like, am I actually doing this right? The answer is you can have a very clear answer that you're doing it right. Aside from just losing weight on the scale, you can actually see the presence of ketone bodies in your urine, in your blood, and in your breath. So there are 3 different types of ketone bodies. I won't bore you with the science, but essentially they show up in 3 different ways because of that. And so, yeah, you can go to the store and you can buy ketone urinalysis strips, so strips that you pee on, and they change color, and they show you the presence of ketone bodies in your urine. Also, you can use blood strips, so the same way that diabetics might take their blood sugar using blood strips, you can actually test ketones in your blood as well. And then they even make breath meters, so you actually can just blow into it for about 15 seconds, and it'll tell you how many ketones are in your breath.
Huh. Which one's the best one to use?
Well, it's debatable.
Okay.
I would say that breath is the best. So I like that because you don't have to buy any strips. You just buy the device once.
Oh, okay.
I hate refills of anything. Forever. I hate refills. If I don't have to get a refill, I'm good for it.
The downside is that, it's a higher price point in the beginning. So essentially, you might be spending like $100 to $150 on the breath meter. But if you think about how many times you're going to buy a pack of the urine strips for $7, or the blood strips are even more expensive than that. Like you probably pay like $60 for like 50 blood strips. So almost $1 a strip. You can get like 100 urine strips for about $7. So they are pretty cheap. But if you're going to be doing this for a while, it's probably best to get the breath meter. Also because over time, your body doesn't put as many ketone bodies into your urine. It makes sense if you think about the fact that our bodies are very efficient. And so the reason why the ketones are in your urine at first is because your body has not become efficient at using it as a fuel source. So it's putting a lot of it into your waste. It's saying, oh, I have all these extra ketones, I don't need these. So over time, your body becomes more efficient at burning ketones, and you're going to see less and less in your urine. So sometimes people can get discouraged if they don't have that information. They'll think, well, what am I doing wrong? I used to be in high ketosis and now I'm not. And so that can be discouraging for people, but the breath remains accurate over time.
Oh, okay.
And Natalie and I can share it, right?
Yes, you can. As long as you trust the person, you're going to be swapping saliva with whoever it is. But yeah, as long as you're okay with that. And also, they do, whenever you buy a breath meter, they have different tube attachments that you guys could like each have your own and just insert it whenever you want to take turns with it if you didn't want to share.
Okay.
Well, here's Natalie's issue right now. If we go into this and then get back into ketone thing, she just gave birth to twins a year ago. And
congratulations.
Thanks.
And she is the type that holds on to weight during
breastfeeding.
Explain it to her. You can do better than me.
Oh my gosh, I did too.
Oh yeah. That everybody says, oh, you're gonna have twins and you're gonna breastfeed. Yeah, I'm breastfeeding. You're gonna have the best body of your life while you're breastfeeding.
And twins are gonna lose double the weight.
Right, and I'm over here like still with a pooch of a belly a year later, and just like that didn't happen for me. I working out, trying to eat as well as we can, and not moving on the scale after a certain amount of weight. Did drop, obviously, because right after birth, you do lose some, but then I was just stuck. And so I've just finished weaning them, so I'm hoping things start getting moving again. But yeah.
And what I like about the keto diet is it's not a fad type diet where you have to buy Weight Watchers meals or something like that. I mean, it's very doable.
No. Right, and actually there are a lot of keto products on the market now. When I started eating this way back in 2013, really the only products on the market were like Atkins products. And so I did buy them and use some of them. And I'm a big believer in using it as a short-term solution if that's what you need. I call them a keto crutch. Like I'd rather you go eat the keto M&Ms than, eat the real sugary laden versions. But ultimately, those things can slow your progress down. And I call them frankenfoods. I think no matter what type of diet people are propagating, nutritionists, dietitians, specialist educators, I think we can all agree that eating real food is the best thing for your body. So it's just because there's a product in the grocery store that says keto on it does not necessarily mean that it is good for your body. It can be really inflammatory. It can still spike your blood sugar, and it can hold back progress. But I am also grateful that those things exist for when you need to have a little bit of pleasure in your life. You want to enjoy your life. You want to have some ice cream. Go have your keto ice cream on a Friday night. Just don't be eating keto products every single day.
Okay. Interesting.
So you mentioned that you're having trouble losing weight after giving birth and being postpartum and breastfeeding.
Right.
I ate keto throughout my entire pregnancy and postpartum while I was breastfeeding. It is safe in case anybody's concerned about that.
Yeah.
And actually, babies are born in a state of ketosis. And a lot of times they are in a state of ketosis if they're exclusively breastfeeding. Because although there are definitely some carbs, sugars in breast milk, the macronutrient composition usually keeps babies in a state of ketosis because breast milk is so high in fat. So it is safe. It's totally normal. It's a normal biological state for humans to be in either ketosis or glucosis. So whichever one is fine and healthy. Hormones are everything. And so one of the biggest reasons why keto really helps is because of how it influences hormones. When you are riding the blood sugar roller coaster, The primary hormone that helps usher sugar out of your blood is called insulin, and that is a fat storage hormone. So diabetics are unable to get the glucose out of their blood because they have become insulin resistant. So a lot of times they will even, they'll have to take insulin shots to help them, right?
Uh-huh.
And so that's the job of insulin, is to get the sugar out of your blood, because when it's too high, it can actually be very dangerous. So what it does is it actually ushers the excess sugar out of your blood and into fat storage. So insulin is a fat storage hormone. Well, insulin is so interconnected. All of our hormones are interconnected with estrogen, progesterone, our hunger hormones called leptin and ghrelin. These affect our satiety, however full we feel, and it affects our hunger levels. So all of our hormones are interconnected, and a lot of times what we don't realize is that every single food that we put into our body has a chemical and a hormonal reaction as a result. And so we feel very, very different based on the different types of foods that we are eating. I just want to, affirm you and resonate with you that it is actually pretty difficult to lose weight when you are breastfeeding. What happens is your body essentially is in a very similar state as menopause, basically.
Oh.
And so it's normal for your body to be, to struggle with insulin. A lot of times people can become insulin resistant during that time. So trying out keto can be very effective for people who are breastfeeding, wanting to lose that baby weight. But I also want to normalize the fact that it's normal for your body to hold on to a little bit of extra weight when you're breastfeeding. It's like a survival mechanism.
Okay. Yeah, see, people don't talk about that very much. It's usually, you lose so much weight when you breastfeed, and so when you're a person that doesn't, you don't feel normal, and it's like, golly.
And you're breastfeeding twins around the clock.
Right.
And there's
exactly.
no moving on the scales, and you're trying to eat right, and you're trying to do right, and you're like, what's wrong with me?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Another thing that makes weight loss really hard postpartum is the lack of sleep.
Yes.
So if your sleep is being interrupted, then your stress hormone cortisol goes through the roof the next day. Anything less than 6 hours of sleep straight, and your cortisol goes up by 40 to 60% the next day. And so cortisol, your stress hormone, is interlinked with insulin, which is your fat storage hormone. And so I've even worked with clients who ate a keto diet, quote unquote, perfectly, but they were only getting 4 hours of sleep a night, not necessarily because they were new moms or because they were super stressed out or whatever it might be, and the scale won't budge.
Yeah.
So I think that's another big factor in struggling to lose weight is sleep deprivation when you're a new mom.
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, she's saying...
I was looking at Wes, I was like, when was the last time I got 6 hours of sleep, in one night? I don't know. It's twins.
It's
been a year.
I know.
We have twins, and now they're in their teething phase. So it's getting up and giving them, baby Tylenol, and they're holding their ears and they're pulling, and it's so hard.
But
it is.
I have a question though, because now that I'm done, I'm just now finished breastfeeding, so I, let myself have a glass of wine at dinner time or something. Does that completely mess up a keto diet to have wine or, a beer or something?
What a great question. This is a question that I get asked a lot, actually. Can I drink alcohol on keto? And my answer is yes, but your mileage may vary. So a lot of times there are alcohols that are low in carbohydrates or even zero carbohydrates. You could go have a vodka soda for zero carbohydrates. And so why would that mess up ketosis if there's no carbohydrates?
Okay.
Well, the answer is actually that alcohol is considered a fuel source for the body. So some people might actually call it the fourth macronutrient. So protein, fat, carbs, and then alcohol. So alcohol is a fuel source, actually. Your body can use it for energy. And remember how I said that carbohydrates take first priority? When you have carbohydrates in your body will burn carbs first, and then it'll burn fat only once you've burned through the carbs. Well, that order of priority rule takes the same way with alcohol, but alcohol would be first priority, even above carbohydrates. So you could be depriving your body of carbohydrates, but as soon as you introduce alcohol, your body says, oh, here's the very primary fuel source. We need to burn this first because actually it's considered kind of poisonous to the body. I'm not trying to demonize it. There can be some health benefits or mental health benefits for people, right? So I'm not trying to demonize it in any way, shape, or form, but I just want to provide a little bit of context that it can actually slow down your progress. because you might even still be in a state of ketosis, your urine strip or whatever is showing you that you're in a state of ketosis, but your body has to burn through the alcohol first before it can go back to doing the work of burning through your stored body fat, which is what you're trying to do.
Okay.
So, I mean,
good to know.
Would you say she's allowed to have a glass once a week or twice a week, or it depends on the person, or how does that work?
Yeah, I think it depends on the person, and just see what's going on with you and see if it's worth it to you to keep going at the pace that you're going. Usually, if I see clients that are having a glass of alcohol once a week or twice a week, it's not really an issue. They're still seeing a lot of progress. I have some clients who, have 1 or 2 glasses of wine every single night, and, that's not working out very well for them. So usually when people are stalling or not seeing as fast as progress as they would like to see, that would be the first thing that I would suggest cutting out, just to see if it accelerates your progress. But if it's working for you and you're enjoying it and you're happy with your pace, then keep it.
Cool.
She stopped drinking for a year, Jess. You should have seen the smile on her face when she had that first glass.
Like I said, sometimes you have to enjoy your life, and sometimes there's mental health benefits to certain habits that you want to, you have to enjoy what you're doing in order to stick with it long term.
Right. Cool. That's a good answer.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
it's all about mindset. It's all about having a self-care mindset.
So you are like an expert in this. I can hear it in your voice. Did you go to school for nutrition?
I did, somewhat. I actually went to school to study to become a life coach. So I did my full master's degree in life coaching, and then I got my certification through the International Coach Federation. That took me like an additional year because you have to pass their tests, you have to have your coaching sessions evaluated by their expert team, you have to have a certain number of hours under your belt, so on and so forth. So, and there's a strict code of ethics that you would abide by, which is on par with those of mental health professionals. So it's something that I'm really, really proud of, is my International Coach Federation certification. I did do some nutrition training as well. I wanted to have a credential or a benchmark that I could let people know that I do know what I'm talking about when it comes to nutrition. So even though I didn't do a full degree in it, I'm not a nutritionist or a dietitian. I don't have a master's degree in nutrition or anything, but I did get my certification through the American Nutrition Association in ketogenic nutrition.
Cool. Wow. That sounds impressive. I like it.
Thank you. Thank you. It's something that I was really passionate about. I want people to feel like they can trust who they're working with, for sure.
Right, exactly. Yeah. That's awesome.
So what's the difference in the keto and the Atkins and carnivore? It sounds very similar. It sounds like
like low carb or no carb.
Yep. They would definitely fall under the umbrella of low carb, all three of those things. So Atkins is a staggered low carb diet. I actually started with Atkins back in 2013. When I approached it, I actually started November 8th of 2013. It was like 3 weeks before Thanksgiving. And I just wanted to lose 10 pounds in 2 weeks. And it was something that I had seen my mom do when I was a teenager, just approach Atkins and lose, 5 pounds in a week or whatever. And so I was just desperate at that point and wanted a quick fix. I had no idea that I would actually fall in love with how I felt. And within 2 weeks, I knew that I would want to do it forever. I did lose those 10 pounds. But what I was so surprised about was how much better I felt. And now I understand the science of, ketosis. But at that time, I didn't. I just thought it was like magic. Like, why hadn't anybody told me about this? So Atkins actually is a staggered low-carb diet where the very first phase, they recommend at least 2 weeks, would actually be a state of ketosis. So it's very restrictive in carbohydrates. They recommend staying under 20 grams of carbohydrates per day. And then you can stay in that phase as long as you want to. And then they have the next phase up. You would incorporate certain other foods so that you're eating a little bit more carbohydrates, but you're still in a low carbohydrate diet. Then there's a phase 3 where you're adding back even more as you're getting closer to your goal weight. And then phase 4, where is called maintenance, where you're just maintaining your weight. You're still focusing on whole foods, but you would include things like higher glycemic fruits that you would be avoiding in the initial ketosis phase, starchier vegetables like potatoes or sweet potatoes, peas and carrots, things like that you would be avoiding in the initial phase. You might even bring back some complex carbohydrates like quinoa or millet or something like that. So that's kind of Atkins. keto is essentially the first stage of Atkins. So you are restricting your carbohydrates. Most people need to stay under 50 carbohydrates to be in a state of ketosis, but people can vary, and it really depends on your insulin resistance. So if you have a lot of weight to lose, it might be difficult for you to get into a state of ketosis at first. You're going to have to really be strict with it and stay under 50 carbs. But now I healed my body of insulin resistance. I can eat up to 100 carbs a day and still be burning ketones. And I can see that on the breathalyzer, you know? So everybody's tolerance is different and everybody's body works differently. And then carnivore still falls under the umbrella of a low-carb diet, but it's essentially almost a zero-carbohydrate diet, because what you're doing is you're eating exclusively animal-based. So you're eating meat, and some people eat dairy. Some people are eating carnivore and they forego dairy, but I like to incorporate it when I have done carnivore and when I use it as a tool with my clients. But the benefits are that a lot of times people have sensitivities to plants and they're not really aware of it. It can help heal hormonal issues. It can help heal digestive issues, and it can help accelerate weight loss.
Huh.
All right, I might have the allergy to plants.
Well, yeah,
so?
we know he has issues with broccoli and lettuce if it's washed a certain way. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, they say, like, in restaurants, they put, like, a tablespoon of bleach or whatever. But, like, I can go to the grocery store and get a bag of lettuce or spinach and make salads and be fine all day. But if I eat a salad at a restaurant, I'm running to the bathroom right away. I guess it's how they wash them, yeah.
But broccoli,
That's so
broccoli doesn't matter. Broccoli is broccoli, messes them up every time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, broccoli is a cruciferous vegetable along with like cauliflower and cabbage.
Yeah, cabbage,
and Brussels sprouts, things like that. So it's very common for people to have a hard time breaking that down, and the byproduct is gas and bloating and digestive discomfort.
Yeah. There you go.
But carnivore wouldn't reset that, though, because you said it would help with digestion stuff. That wouldn't fix it, would it?
So that's an interesting question. So sometimes people have sensitivities to food because they have what would be called dysbiosis in your gut, or like disease of your gut. I wouldn't come out full out and say like you would actually, have a health diagnosis that a doctor might diagnose, but maybe, sometimes IBS or SIBO, or even as far as like Crohn's disease, it's a spectrum of how diseased our gut can be. Some people have leaky gut, where there's like little tiny holes in the lining of your gut and you're having a hard time digesting those things because, little food particles are getting out into your bloodstream. So there could be a lot of different things going on with people's gut. Eating an elimination diet can help heal your gut. And so carnivore essentially is the best elimination diet there is, because you're just eating straight meat and you've eliminated absolutely everything else other than that. And so what you can do is take a period of time, maybe about at least 3 months minimum. I wouldn't say this is necessary for weight loss, but if somebody's interested in trying to heal their gut, if they think that they have gut dysbiosis, give it a full 3 months and then allow some time for your gut to heal. So imagine that you do have those little tiny holes in the gut of your lining. The lining of your gut. So that would give your body some time where it's not being aggravated and inflamed by the foods that are causing reactivity, and your body is totally capable of healing itself. And so then when you reintroduce those foods, you can see, okay, well, maybe my gut is healed now because I'm responding much better to this now, or maybe I still have a sensitivity to this. But you can kind of use process of elimination and just bring in one food back at a time and see if your body is reacting to it. It's a long experiment and it takes a lot of patience, but it is something that you can try.
Well, when I get focused on something, I get pretty daggone focused. It bothers Natalie because when I get on a diet,
it's all or nothing. There's no enjoyment. He does. It's either he's all in and there's no enjoying food because he's so strict and so focused on it, or it's absolutely nothing and let's buy junk food, let's buy everything and just gorge. And it's like, can we have a happy medium where it's, enjoy yourself every once in a while, but try and stick to a healthy diet, with some goodies every once in a while instead of this all or nothing mindset. It really, it gets on my nerves.
I hear you totally. And one of the things that I try to hold space for with my clients is that we have different personality types. And so for some people, the adage, everything in moderation, might actually drive them crazy and really not work for them. And so there's a really cool researcher, Gretchen Rubin, and she created this concept called abstainers versus moderators. And so to try to break down people into two different categories, abstainers are people who it's actually much easier for them to just make one decision. I'm no longer going to eat this. This is who I am now, right? And then they just make the decision once, and then they stick with it. It's easier for them to abstain from a certain food, or I'm just using food in this context. It could be anything in life. But it's easier for them to abstain than to try to moderate something. They actually find themselves struggling a lot to moderate because they feel like they lose control and kind of go into a frenzy, and it just becomes a slippery slope for them when they try to moderate something. So you might say that these people are all or nothing people, but it becomes a strength for them. Rigidity actually helps them to succeed. And then there are moderators who it sounds like hell on earth to them to try to abstain from something forever. They need to know that if they want to, have a deviation from their regularly scheduled programming, that they can totally do that and that they can still enjoy that and that it's still going to work for them. The idea of trying to make a decision once and have it be permanent, like, oh my gosh, that would drive them up a wall. And so they're not going to enjoy that. So I wonder if you guys have these different personality types. What do you think?
I think so.
I think 100%. I think you're diagnosing us.
I'm over here I don't see the problem. If we've been good all week, why can't we, you're out and about having a family day. Why can't we have, a brownie? It's not that big a deal. One brownie, you know what I mean? And then he's like, no, I'm on my diet. I can't even have one Skittle. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, my little girl offered me a Skittle, and I'm like, no, I'm on a diet. And she's like, you can't, no, you gotta live life. And I'm like, it messes me up. Then the next day I'm eating a whole box of hot tamales. I love hot tamales. So it messes me up. It just messes up my brain. It cuts that trigger off. I'm no longer on the diet. I had that Skittle last night. I know it's stupid, but that's how I'm wired.
Yeah, well, it's not stupid. It's something to be aware of and to try to celebrate how you are wired instead of trying to fight your own personality type. But what I would suggest for you, if you do feel like you're an abstainer, that your language is so important. Because if you say, I can't have this, then how do you feel when you say that? As opposed to saying, I don't want to, or I choose not to.
Right, yeah. That would be better to tell your daughter than I'm on a diet. I think. I
can tell you're worried about the messaging that your kids might be picking up on to hear, mom or dad say, I'm on a diet, I can't.
Right.
Yeah, that's definitely
she's 9 and she's I've already heard her say comments to Wes of, you're always on a diet. Why can't you just eat this? So it's yeah. That would be a better.
Well, Jess, I have to fit in magic boxes. I actually have a box right now I don't fit in. I really badly sprained my foot 7 months ago, and I actually jogged yesterday, and I felt pretty good. But if I drive a long car trip, my foot just goes to sleep, and it aches when I get out of the car. So it's still not better, but it's getting there. And I gained 35 pounds because I couldn't move. So, yeah, I need to do something. But going back to the stomach thing real quick, and then we'll get back to where we were. My stomach, I had panic attacks in high school, so it was diarrhea and throwing up every day of my life for 5 years. Yeah. I just thought that was normal, that I lived it my whole life. Everybody looks back at it and says, how did you not know? It's every day of your life. That's what you are now. I don't know.
Your norm.
And so I didn't get that fixed until I was in college, but I wonder how much damage that did to my guts. And I know it did damage to my teeth. I just now got on track where I go to the dentist and everything's fine. It was bad because, throwing up every single day, and it was awful. So do you think the carnivore thing, to eliminate all of that, is the way to go for now, just to see if I can fix whatever may be going on?
No, not at all. I would actually say start with keto.
Keto, okay.
Yeah, I would say you don't have to go, so far to the extreme.
I'm fine going to extreme. We already talked about that.
Yeah, I know. I mean, actually, you might really like, do you know Joe Rogan and his podcast?
I love Joe Rogan's podcast, yes.
Yeah, he went straight from just eating high carb to eating carnivore. But what can happen when you do that?
He had extreme diarrhea.
It's absolutely crazy, the kind of reaction that your body might have. So if you would be okay with staggering down, a lot of times people who start with keto and then transition to carnivore, they don't have those problems at all.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you from a medical standpoint. What caused his crazy diarrhea doing that? What is going on in his belly?
Electrolyte imbalance, actually. So that's what I would attribute it to. So basically what happens is, and people who transition to a keto diet can struggle with this as well. There's actually a popular term for it called the keto flu. And it's not really a flu, but you get some of the symptoms of a flu where you have headache, you feel really tired, you might get constipated or have diarrhea, leg cramps, muscle cramps, can't get through a workout, things like that. You just kind of feel like a truck ran over you for a couple of days. And that's kind of a normal response to your body transitioning fuel sources. So it takes about 72 hours for your body to burn through the stored glucose that you have. We can store a little bit of glucose in our liver and in our muscles. It's called glycogen. It takes about 72 hours to burn through that. And then your body switches over to burning stored body fat, which is almost an unlimited resource for those of us who, have extra stored body fat to lose. And so in that meantime, though, your body kind of feels like, where's all my nutrition? I don't have the nutrition that I need. And your body just kind of freaks out a little bit. Another thing that happens, though, is your body holds on to 1 gram of water for 4 grams of water for every 1 gram of carbohydrates that you consume. And so that's where that initial weight loss is coming from, where people lose like 10 pounds in 2 weeks or 10 pounds in 10 days, or if you have a lot of weight to lose 10 pounds in the first week, that can happen. And that is water weight, actually, because your body is flushing that stored sugar out of your body. And along with it, the 4 grams of water for every 1 gram of carbohydrates. So there goes all that water. With that, though, your body is also flushing out electrolytes. Imagine, this is why people, like athletes, replenish electrolytes during an intense workout, because you're losing a lot of water weight through sweat. And so you're feeling cruddy. You're feeling like really, you're going to get that headache, or you're going to feel like your performance is stalling. You've hit a wall. You're bonking, basically. So that's what's happening. So in regards to the diarrhea that he got, so think about your colon, and the job of your colon is to produce stool. And the perfect consistency of your stool is about, having the consistency of the waste that you need to get out of your body, along with the right dosage of water. And so the cells in your colon perfectly allow in the right amount of water to form a stool that could easily pass out of your body, right? And when you don't have enough water in your stool, you get constipated. And when you have too much water in your stool, it's diarrhea. And so all of the cells in your body are running off of an electrolyte balance of sodium and potassium and magnesium. So it's called the sodium-potassium channel. Every single cell in your body functions off of this. And this is why we get these symptoms when we don't have enough electrolytes. So basically, to answer your question, it's an electrolyte imbalance that is very, very common when you are no longer eating the sodium that comes from processed foods. As Americans, we get most of our sodium that we need for the day from processed foods.
Oh, okay. So we don't need to add any salt to anything, huh?
Actually, you will. You will need to add salt, actually. So your body needs sodium in order to function. So, because remember, all of your cellular processes and neurological processes are running off of sodium and potassium and magnesium. So, if you're not getting enough of these things from your diet, then you are going to feel the impacts of that on your body. Having diarrhea or constipation is just one way that you might feel that, but again, it might manifest as you feeling really tired, as you having headaches, things like that. So, if you're feeling any of those symptoms, I tell my clients to supplement with electrolytes. Okay. So I can recommend some good brands, but, there's electrolytes that you can get everywhere. Smart Water, Gatorade Zero, Powerade Zero. So you can, there's, as long as it's zero sugar and it's got electrolytes, you're going to want to supplement with it if you're experiencing any of those symptoms.
What is Pediasure? Does that have sugar in it?
Yeah, it has sugar in it, but it's not electrolytes.
Yeah, I know, yeah, okay, all right. Well, that's what I was thinking. Gatorade was like, a Pepsi product, so I didn't think you'd recommend that, but they have Gatorade Zero.
Oh, okay.
So I'm okay with it as long as you're getting enough sodium for the day. So when you are eating a low-carb diet, I would recommend to people, make sure you're getting at least 1,000 milligrams of sodium a day. So if you look at the back of the Gatorade, it's probably got about 300 milligrams of sodium a day. So you're going to want to have 3 to 4 of those a day. add up a lot, price-wise. So what you can actually do is you can make your own electrolyte drink at home. You can take a half a teaspoon of salt and put it in however much water you want. But a half a teaspoon of salt is 1,000 milligrams of sodium, and it's much cheaper than buying any kind of electrolyte beverage. So you can do that, and then you could flavor it with like a fruit infusion of water or some lemon and a little bit of keto sweetener to make like your own electrolyte lemonade, something like that.
So keto sweetener, is Splenda not allowed on that diet?
Okay, so there's different types of zero sugar sweeteners. Splenda is one of them. And actually, the ingredient in Splenda that makes it sweet is actually called sucralose. That's the name of the chemical sweetener. Splenda is just one brand of that, but of course, there's other brands. I'm okay with sucralose,
Okay.
but I tell people to watch out for Splenda packet or granulated Splenda, and this actually goes for any kind of keto sweetener, like the Sweet and Low or Equal, any kind of packet. Because what they do is they take the chemical that makes it sweet, and then they add it to this other compound called maltodextrin, and that is what gives it the granulation. Well, maltodextrin has carbohydrates, and it spikes your blood sugar. So that's why if you look up the nutrition info for one packet of Splenda, it's 1 gram of carbs.
Wow.
So that can add up pretty quickly. Yeah, I used to go to Dunkin' Donuts every day and be putting, 3 Splenda packets in my coffee twice a day.
Yeah.
If you're trying to stick to 20 carbs a day, that's 6 carbs right there. You've already done 25% of your carbs for the day.
I've had
It's a
8 or
waste of
12
carbohydrates.
in my coffee already today.
Uh-huh.
Yep. Yep.
Hey, you're
So
not
I would
starting keto
recommend
today.
switching-
She said, I'm not starting keto today.
Well, you can. Remember, it's not all or nothing. Your body can still be working towards the state of ketosis through the carbohydrate reduction that you are doing. But I would just recommend switching to liquid sucralose. So it's called Easy Sweets, the letter E, the letter Z, Sweets with a Z on the end, and I buy them on Amazon, and it's just liquid sucralose, no maltodextrin in it, no carbs whatsoever. And then it comes in a pack where it's got a larger bottle that you can keep at home, and then a smaller bottle that you can keep in your pocket or your purse or your car, and take it with you. So that's what I use.
Huh. There you go.
Does it taste as good, though? Because I do not
Yeah.
like Equal. I do not like Sweet and Low. But
Same.
okay,
Same.
okay.
Yeah, no, it tastes exactly the same.
Oh, wow. All right, cool. Because they're not putting that extra chemical in it, and that chemical just makes it granulated, so it tastes exactly the same. I love it. I love it. You're awesome. Thank you, Jess. Thank you.
This is the type of stuff that I love, and I do free curiosity calls for anybody that's interested in coaching. And what I tell people is, whether you want to move forward with coaching or not, just let me give you some free keto advice. Like, I just sincerely enjoy it. Like, I just solved one little problem for you, or taught you one little thing about your personality, or whatever. Like, that truly just brings me joy.
Well, I mean, so here's the thing about Natalie and I. Not only do I love my wife with all of my heart, we're together 24 hours a day. So how are you going to make 2 different meals? How are you going to have one person have brownies for dessert? I freaking love brownies. But then she makes brownies, but I'm on a diet. I don't want brownies. She wants brownies. Okay, well, I'm with her. And then if I don't eat it, then she feels guilty. And it's like, now we're 2 separate personality types. Just said so. Leave me alone. I can say that now. Thank you, Jess.
Yes,
That's hilarious.
Totally. So, I mean, there's this concept of like, you want to make sure that you're not, being codependent or too enmeshed with one another. Like, you guys don't have to be doing the same thing. You are 2 different people. You can be doing 2 separate things, and each of these things could be what's good for you and what's working for you. With that being said, your environment plays a big influence on you, and it can be super difficult, especially in the beginning when you're trying to cut something out, and the other person is eating it in front of you. You don't want to say, could you not eat that in front of me, because now you don't want to be domineering or whatever, or put anybody else out. I totally understand this. So my husband does not eat keto, and when I first started eating keto, it was really difficult for me, because after dinner, he's sitting there, having his ice cream and eating a plate of nachos or whatever. And I wasn't even hungry today. I just had a great dinner, but those nachos look good.
Right.
And so there's a keto substitute for everything. And again, remember how I said, like, keto crutches are okay in the beginning? I always tell my clients, have a little bit of grace with yourself, because even though keto does suppress your appetite, and it really does give you a lot of food freedom as well, in the sense that, like, those cravings are going to go away because you're not going to be riding the blood sugar roller coaster anymore. But the psychological cravings can take a little bit longer to break than just the physical cravings. So even though in the first 2 weeks you might not be feeling those physical cravings anymore, your hunger is going to be dissipating and you're going to think that that's awesome, you might still see somebody eating something and feel like, oh my God, I want that. Or, you know, you're sitting at the Mexican restaurant and the chips are in front of you, or at Olive Garden and the breadsticks are in front of you, and you're going to really feel like you want it. So just trying to be prepared and have something, you know, that you can have as a substitute. I have been known to bring pork rinds to the Mexican restaurant and dip some in some guacamole or some salsa so that I have something to eat while everybody else is eating it. Or, you know, when you're at the Italian restaurant or whatever, thankfully they bring out the salad usually at the same time as the breadsticks, so that's keeping you busy. But try to just be aware that that's something you're going to need. I would make pork rind nachos. I would make, Google this one when she's making brownies. Look up keto mug cake. You can make like a keto brownie in a coffee mug in under 3 minutes. So
cool.
That can really help as well.
Well, if it tastes good, I don't mind making one of those. That's absolutely fine. I just sometimes just want a chocolate fix, you know? And it doesn't have to be the whole pan of brownies. I just want a brownie. But, you know.
That's that girl thing, though. You got to have that chocolate fix.
Yeah.
A lot of times as well, chocolate is high in magnesium. So sometimes your body is giving you a craving because you're deficient in something. So maybe, you know, just adding some electrolytes to your life can really help with cravings as well.
I'm waiting for an app that does your blood that says, hey, you need potassium. Hey, you need you know, what would really hit the spot for you right now is this meal. That's what I'm waiting on, Jess, because, you know, sometimes I'm craving something and I'll go for something else. And it's like, I'm still hungry or something else is going on. I just realized in the past 10 years, you know, how many times I've been starving and just chugging some water fixes everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
That your belly tricks you and tells you you're hungry when really you're just dehydrated.
Yeah. I bet you that app is not too far off because with all of the wearable technology that we have nowadays, like, you know, people can test their glucose through blood strips, right?
Right.
And now they actually have what's called a continuous glucose monitor. And you stick it in your arm. It doesn't hurt, but you stick it in your arm once. You can wear it for about 2 weeks, and you can even wear it in the shower 24/7. It links to an app on your phone, and it monitors your blood sugar for you, and you can see the response. And so that technology already exists. It probably won't be long until some really smart person designs an app that does push you and says, hey, you know, you're low in yada yada based on your blood. Like, you might want to eat this thing to feel better. I bet you that's coming within the next 20 years.
You have too much sodium, but you need potassium. I recommend your lunch be an apple and turkey bacon. You know, and you just don't know.
Exactly.
I would love that. Natalie and I said if we hit the lottery, the first thing we're going to do is just hire a chef.
Right.
Because we eat what's in front of us. And that's the problem. When you go to that Mexican restaurant, we end up eating the daggone chips.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
Well, if you're trying to do keto, you can always tell them not to bring the chips if both of you are on the same page. But I know you have kiddos as well, so your 9-year-old probably really loves those chips.
Yes, she does.
You can bring some pork rinds with you. You can also buy, they make 100% cheese crackers. So, have you seen these? They're called like Wisps. Is one of the brands. Moon Cheese is another brand, and it's a cracker that's made of 100% cheese. You can get them there at like Starbucks and stuff. They're becoming more popular everywhere, Target, grocery stores, and you can just keep that in your purse and bust that out when your kiddo is having the tortilla chips, and you can have the cheese crackers and dunk it in the salsa or the guacamole.
Wow. So is your little girl, do you have her on keto? How does that work? Because your husband's not.
Right. He's not. So when I first started eating keto, this was before my daughter was born. But I would basically make a protein and a low carb vegetable for me for dinner, and then I would make a starch for him as well. So I would still make like the pasta or the macaroni and cheese or the baked potato or the rice or whatever. And then I'd say maybe less than a year into this, because he didn't think I was going to last, you know, in the beginning, and neither did I. But sure enough, results don't lie, and I kept with it, and I garnered his respect and all of that. And one day he just said, you don't have to make that for me. You don't have to make the potato for me. And so I'm like, really? Okay. So he eats keto meals with me, but then when he wants to have chips after dinner or have an ice cream bar after dinner, that's what he does. So for my daughter, I don't keep her on a low-carb diet per se. I keep her on a whole food diet. So So any fruit, any vegetable, meat, and then of course I do let her have treats from time to time, but I try to keep things that are like low sugar. So I'll have like sugar-free gelatin. I'll have like low sugar yogurts for her. I just try to be really mindful of her sugar consumption because it really does impact her behavior and her mood. So that's usually what I stick with, is just try to stick with whole foods and limit her sugar.
Wow, we probably don't even notice. I mean, last night we had that brownie, and then my little girl was running around chasing the twins, and like she was hopped up on sugar.
That's very true.
Yeah.
She was having a good time, though, playing with her brothers.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, it's fun when they're sugar high, but then when they sugar dip, and then they're, cranky and not listening to rules, and they don't want to go to bed, that's not fun. And you feel bad for them, too, because you can tell that their little body is just struggling,
Yeah, 100%. And her bedtime's 11:30. She still doesn't want to go to bed. So
yeah.
Wow.
Well, we're entertainers, so she gets up about. We had breakfast today at 1 p.m. So
right.
that's our schedule. Everything's weird.
Yeah.
Dude, this has been amazing. This is awesome, Jess. I'm loving this. We'll have to have you back on. You have your own podcast called Self Care Keto.
Yeah.
How long has that been going?
Oh, man, probably, I think I started it in March of 2020, so about a year and a half now.
Nice.
Yeah, we started ours what is it?
Sometime around then, yeah.
Pandemic podcast is when we started.
Exactly.
We started as well.
A lot of people started during the pandemic. Yeah, we were stuck at home. Get yourself a microphone and just start talking.
That's right.
Well, we sold our television show, so I was videotaping my television show and I was putting it on YouTube every week since 2014, 2015. And then when we sold it, they're like, no more episodes. We don't need new ones. We just need to promote the ones you have. We bought it, and I have free time now. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
And within that week, we started a podcast. So that's how it happened for us. So how do people go about hiring you? Because, I'm going to re-listen to this. I got to go shopping on Amazon. I need some cheese crackers. I need to start this new diet for my belly. How can people hire you?
Well, I have all of my information on my website, theketofit.com. I have an initial 5-week coaching commitment for new one-on-one clients. And I also do group coaching, but that is only offered at certain times of the year. So I just started a group that's going September through November, and I will be doing another group in January, probably towards the end of January. That will be for women only, though. So I do have one-on-one openings available right now. So if anybody is interested in checking that out, it's over at theketofit.com. You can just put in an inquiry on my website, and we can set up a free curiosity call. Also, for anybody that is thinking, well, I'm interested in this, but I really don't have the time commitment right now, or I really don't have the financial availability to work with a coach right now, I have a resource available that is called the Self-Care Keto Guided Mindset Journal. And I created this to be a self-coaching tool for people who would like to get out of self-sabotage and into self-care surrounding food and weight and body image, and are curious about how keto can actually help them in that journey. I have 10 mindset exercises in that guided journal that are mindset exercises that I've used with my one-on-one clients over the last 4 years to really help them transform their mindsets and their relationships with food, to lose weight and to find healing from the inside out. So that's available on my website as well at theketofit.com/journal. And you can follow me on social media. I'm at the Keto Fit on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn. And then I also have the Self-Care Keto podcast.
Perfect.
Dude, that's awesome. So what's the one thing Natalie should try to work on tonight? Just get rid of all the bread in the house?
Well, if you're a moderator, Natalie, which it sounds like you are, then probably, a staggered approach might work really well for you as opposed to an all or nothing. So maybe just cutting out one category of food at a time. And it's totally up to you how you would like to approach that. I wouldn't dictate to you what that should be first, because maybe you feel like you could let go of chips, but bread is more of like a sacred cow for you. So it really depends. But sometimes for moderators, a staggered approach can be a lot more successful than going cold turkey.
Okay. Cool. Yes, I like that idea. Much better than cold turkey.
One last thing that I'd like to offer out to everybody is I have a freebie. It's called the Free Keto Kickstart PDF. And what this is it is a free download where you can get 47 free keto recipes. And it's also got a keto food list that you can use as a shopping list, and it'll tell you what foods to focus on, what foods to moderate, what foods to avoid, a little bit more keto info to get you all started. And that freebie is at bit.ly/keto kickstart PDF.
Do that one more time.
bit.ly/keto kickstart PDF.
Wow. All right.
And also, if you go over to my website, theketofit.com, it's going to come up as a pop-up for you, and you can grab it there.
Perfect. Perfect. Jess, you are awesome. This exceeded my expectations by a long shot. How about you, Nat?
Yeah, absolutely. This is great.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure chatting with you guys. And I saw y'all are from Lynchburg.
We're between Richmond and Charlottesville and Columbia, Virginia.
Awesome. And I am in Virginia Beach, so that's something we have in common.
I used to work at Virginia Beach every October at Hunt Club Farm Market down there on London Bridge. General
Awesome.
Booth.
I know exactly where that is.
General
We're gonna
Booth.
go there this weekend.
General
Oh,
Booth and
cool.
London Bridge. Yeah. Well, tell JD, the owner, I said hi. I love that place.
Okay.
I did
will.
scary magic for them, and I did a sideshow for them. I worked there for 6 years, right out of college.
Wow.
Yeah, I love
Very
Virginia
cool.
Beach.
That's awesome. Well, I do too.
Anyway, thank you. Stay on the line. I have a couple plugs real quick, and then we'll wrap everything up. You were awesome,
Okay,
Jess.
okay.
Thank you so much. Our
Thank
TV
you.
show, Wes Iseli's Magiclife, is on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, Android TV, the Jewel TV app, and tons of other places. It's in over 100 million households. All you have to do is look for it. And now it's in syndication in Houston, Nashville, and Knoxville. Check it out. And every Saturday and Sunday in October, Natalie and I will be performing at Round Hill Farm in Culpeper. Go to wesisley.com for showtimes. And also at wesisley.com is our new show merch. That's logo t-shirts, TV podcast t-shirts, Magic Man hats, stickers, playing cards, and more. See you next week. Today's episode of the podcast is sponsored by Express Copy and Graphics. Mention promo code Wes Iseli to get 10% off. Their website is expresscopy.com. That's XPRESS-COPY.com. They do it all. Copies, banners, signs, vehicle wraps, promo items, practically anything you need printed, they can do it for you. These guys are great. Check them out. Check us out online at wesisley.com and patreon.com/Wes_Iseli for behind-the-scenes videos, blooper videos, never-before-seen footage, discounts on merchandise, magic trick tutorials, and more. That's Wes Iseli, spelled WESISELI.